In the middle of a dense forest, there stood a small wooden house. Two sisters lived there, sharing a quiet life filled with heavy responsibilities. Their father had passed away when they were very young, and a few months ago, their mother had also left them forever. Now the sisters were each other's only support in the world. Every morning they walked deep into the forest, cut wood from tall trees, and carried the heavy bundles to nearby villages to sell. This was their only source of income and the only truth of their lives. The work was harsh, exhausting, and painful, but they endured it with patience because they had no other choice. One day, while cutting wood, they wandered close to the bank of a river. There, something unusual caught their attention. An old book was floating gently on the surface of the water. Strangely, even though it was drifting in the river, the book was completely dry. Curious and confused, the sisters picked it up. On the first page, a single line was written. "Every wish will be fulfilled in exchange for time." The sisters stared at each other in shock. They couldn't fully understand the meaning of those words, but deep down, they felt that the book possessed a mysterious power. That day, they were more exhausted than ever. Their arms ached, their legs trembled, and even standing felt difficult. After a long silence, one sister spoke hesitantly. "Why don't we try this book just once? Maybe it can truly fulfill a wish." The other sister replied firmly, "No, we shouldn't get involved in such things. If we don't work, how will we survive? We don't have time for false hopes." The first sister stayed quiet for a moment, then softly said, "Just once. If nothing happens, we'll start working immediately. We have nothing to lose." The sisters sat silently, thinking carefully. Finally, one of them said, "If we are going to make a wish, it should be a wise one. Something that makes our hard work easier." The other sister nodded. "Yes. We spend half our day cutting trees, and carrying heavy wood to faraway villages drains all our strength." Looking at her tired hands, the first sister whispered, "If we didn't have to cut trees and could get ready-cut wood, we could reach more villages and earn more in less time." After a brief pause, the second sister agreed. "This wish makes sense. It will save time and reduce physical pain." Together they said, "We wish to receive cut wood." In the next moment, a huge pile of ready-cut wood appeared before them. The sisters froze in disbelief. Fear, joy, and amazement rushed through their hearts. One sister laughed with happiness. "The book really fulfills wishes." The other smiled brightly. "Our life will finally become easier." They carefully placed the magical book inside their house and set out to sell the wood. Since they didn't have to cut trees that day, they had much more time. Normally, they could reach only 2 villages, but that day they managed to sell wood in 5 villages. By evening, their earnings were better than ever. But as they walked back home, their legs shook with exhaustion. Even though they hadn't cut trees, the long travel and heavy loads had drained them more than usual. The money was good, but the exhaustion was worse. When they reached home after sunset, they were too tired to cook. One sister sighed, "I wish we had ready-made food." The other replied weakly, "Yes, today was too much." Suddenly, the room filled with a delicious aroma, and warm food appeared before them. Now they were certain the book truly had magical power. Days passed, and the sisters began to rely more and more on the book. One day, one sister said, "If we had a donkey, carrying wood would be easier." Instantly, a donkey appeared outside their house. Soon, they wished that the wood would load itself onto the donkey, and it began happening automatically. Slowly, all hard work disappeared from their lives. Food, cleaning, and comfort came through wishes alone. The sisters grew lazy and stopped working entirely. They wished only for rest, fine meals, and jewelry. Within a short time, they started looking much older than their actual age. That was when they realized the terrible truth. Every wish was stealing their time. Their age was increasing with each desire, but their greed did not stop. They wished for wealth and then for a grand palace. The palace appeared, but the sisters had become extremely old and weak. With tears in their eyes, they looked at the book and said, "We abandoned hard work, and this destroyed us." Filled with regret, they went to the riverbank and threw the book into the water. The moment it touched the river, everything changed. They returned to their original age just as they were at the beginning. They promised each other that they would never live without hard work again. From that day on, they returned to a simple but honest life. Now they understood that the greed for ease is costly, And true peace lies only in hard work.